And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Alright, today we're talking about Jack and the Beanstalk. Oh, actually it's called, yeah, Jack and the Beanstalk. That's the name of it. Is that a good story? Same thing happens every time. Jack climbs up the beanstalk, Giant chases him, Jack climbs down the beanstalk, chops the beanstalk, Giant falls. Spoilers! Anyway, this game is kind of like that, except here you're building three giant beanstalks of different colors. We'll take a look at it, and then the kids will tell you if it is good. So here we have the three beanstalk cards that start out the game. You have brown, green, and yellow. Each of them has 5 roots. I don't know how difficult the colors are to tell apart for those who are colorblind, but there's not a whole lot of other differentiation, although the artwork is very nice and different. And players are going to get a handful of cards, and on their turn, they're trying to get rid of these cards based on the point values that are on the cards. Now, you see there's little red dots that shows you which beanstalks that card covers. On your turn, you play a card so that it's halfway on top of a card of the same color to continue up the beanstalks. And see, I could play this card here, but I can't play this card next because it does not continue the beanstalk card underneath it. I can, however, play this card, and then the next player could play this card on top of that. And you say that doesn't connect as long as it connects with the card directly underneath it. And so you continue placing these cards out. Sometimes when you play a card, usually when you play a card that has that's worth 1 point and has 1 beanstalk on it, it has another symbol on there, and that symbol tells you a special ability. So for example, this has a harp, and when you play a harp, the next player loses a point. Sometimes they make the next person play 2 cards, or they let you play an extra card. And so you play a card, draw a card, play a card, draw a card. There's also a card like this, which shows a nest, and you can see that one's worth 10 points. You want that one out of your hands. When you play the nest card, actually you play this one here, the hen, nobody can play a card on top of that one. So that's kind of locked until someone plays the matching card that shows the hen flying off the nest. And the hen flying off the nest card cannot be played until the previous card is played first. So there's some, mix-ups in there. And then there's one card in the deck that shows the hunter chopping down the beanstalk, which of course is a critical part to any Jack the Beanstalk story, is seeing him chop down the beanstalk. And when this card is played, a player can take as much of a beanstalk as they want and chop it down. Now, why would a player want to do that? Well, maybe to put out their own beanstalk, but once a beanstalk reaches 10 cards high, and for the sake of the size of this video, I'm not going to do it, you put one of these markers on it. That's just to show everyone that it reaches 10, because the game is over when either everyone has finished playing all their cards, or when one of the beanstalk reaches 16 cards, which is basically every card in the deck for that color. At that point, players look at the cards in their hand and count up the points on them. Now, if you can't play a card in your turn, then you got to draw another card, and you have more cards in your hand. So you always want to make sure you can play a card if you can. And there's some strategy to that, play the card with the fewest if possible, and save these bigger cards for when you can play them. Even though they're worth more points, it's better to wait until you have to play a card to get them out of your hand. So there's some strategy there. It's almost like a beanstalk version of Uno, I guess. But that's how you play. The person with the fewest points is the winner. Alright, so Jack and the Beanstalk is a game where you're growing the beanstalks, although the beanstalks can grow kind of out of the way. It's an interesting game. The special powers kind of really add a lot of chaos to the game as you build the beanstalks up. But it can be fun, although it kind of comes down to a random end. But let's see what the kids think. Do you like Jack and the Beanstalk?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you keep on building it, and it's funny when the egg and the bird, it looks like when the bird flies away, it looks like the egg's falling and cracked.
Okay. Next. Do you like Jack and the Beanstalk, Melody?
Yes.
Why?
Because building the beanstalk is pretty cool, and also, I'll give you a tip. Using the axe, you gotta use it wisely, because there's only one axe in the game. My dad does not use it wisely.
Oh, thank you for that information. Alright, next. Do you like Jack and the Beanstalk?
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's good. Why?
Because I like it.
Oh, because you like it. You're full of wisdom today. All right. Well, kids will like the matching up of the beanstalks, the different colors. The artwork is very cute. I think a lot of people will enjoy this, but be forewarned, it certainly is a family-style game. Jack and the Beanstalk.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.